Hello and welcome to Jesus for Asia Now. I'm Natalie Wood and I have my husband John here with me today. Hello, love.
Hi, darling. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
And I'm looking forward to the surprise you have for us today, I think, maybe. What's on your heart today?
Well, you know how sometimes you go on a reconnaissance mission for God's kingdom, and you have an idea of what His calling is for you. And it starts out manageable, and then it kind of explodes.
Oh, okay.
Well, today
One of those?
is one of those times,
Okay.
where we actually see it as we're filming on this trip. You see the vision exploding.
Okay.
And we feel God's calling us into fulfilling that vision. And the country that we visited was Cambodia.
Okay, so what are we looking at in Cambodia?
Just before I'd gone to Cambodia, in the middle of the night, I had this incredibly strong impression that this is the time for Cambodia. And whatever it takes, just pull out all the stops and go for it. And so I arranged for one of our workers from America to come over, for Natalie Howell. She was there already. And just look at what is the state of the educational system in Cambodia for our Adventist children.
Okay.
Now, what we did is we went from Phnom Penh and we went up around the west side of the big lake in the middle, and then around the north side, then way out to the corner, and then all the way down. So we did basically a circumnavigation of Cambodia in 25 hours of driving.
All right, so this first video is the introduction to this.
Yes. We're in Cambodia because effects of the Pol Pot regime and the killing fields are still felt here.
In Cambodia, during Pol Pot time, Pol Pot eliminate and to close all the school.
There's a great need for education because of the war that happened in the 70s.
During the Khmer Rouge period, 75 to 79, they killed off the educated people.
What do you mean by that? Is that like a euphemism? Is that a
No,
figure of speech?
Literally, if you were educated and they found out, they killed you because you were a threat to their ideology.
Wow. So like elementary school educated or like university educated?
If you could read, you were a threat to them.
So how many people were killed?
They think about a quarter of the population.
Wow.
Fast forward to the 90s when I arrived, the Adventist Church is just in its infancy because the Khmer Rouge brought an end to any work that had been done previous to that. There were no churches. There was a handful of people meeting as an Adventist congregation in Phnom Penh. So basically you can say the church has been around in Cambodia now for about 32 years.
Wow.
Thankfully, people that fled to the refugee camps and came to know Jesus in the refugee camps were prepared to be pastors when they came back. And so that helped to jumpstart the work of the church. And God called my family to help train the new converts to Adventism to be church planters. And working together with the Cambodia Adventist Mission, that meant those people were then spread around the country to start churches. So we got a population of primarily financially poor members with a very low education level as well.
Wow. The best strategy for lifting them up is through education. And it's not just the economic benefits of education, but it's also the spiritual benefits of education, to learn what the Bible actually says rather than just treating Christianity like another religion where it's just filled with rituals. Just different rituals, but still rituals, not realizing the depth of how it changes your heart, changes your identity, and puts you in touch with a loving, living Heavenly Father.
We can see that the mission of the church need focus on education, especially to establish more elementary school and high school.
I also personally believe that when you reach kids, it's easier to reach them, because when you reach them, you can reach their parents, because the children will go to their parents and share what they are learning with their parents. You teach them songs, they go home and they sing these songs. You teach them how to pray, they go home to pray. They see how God works, and then they go home. And I think that God's kingdom will grow exponentially as a result of this.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a challenge.
it's a huge challenge because they killed off all the educated people.
Yeah.
And so in order to build up some schools, we have to then educate young
Teachers.
people, teachers, to be teachers. And of course, they killed off the people that valued education. And so we have to inculcate again, teach that value of education again.
Wow, that's a huge challenge.
It's a huge challenge, but I think it really needs to be addressed, because to start a church, you need evangelism. But to grow a church long term, you need education.
Yeah.
A church without an educational system really is going to flounder.
Right, and they have a particular challenge in Cambodia because the Adventist children go to government schools, which means they then have a Sabbath problem.
Yes, the
Yes,
Sabbath
so-
attendance is required.
Yeah. And so they'll be at school until a certain time, and then when school lets out, they'll go to church, which is teaching them that going to church is optional.
Yes.
There are some that take a stand and say, no, I'm not going to,
Yes.
and they see the miracle of God, but there are
Not-
many others that do not.
Correct. And so that's why I believe that education is long-term evangelism.
Yeah.
And so that's the burden that was placed on our hearts very strongly just this last trip.
So when you went from Phnom Penh, the first place you went was Battambang to the
That's
property. Okay, well, let's watch this video
Okay.
about the Battambang property.
Okay. Right now we're in Cambodia, in Battambang, which is about 5-6 hours drive north of Phnom Penh, on the west side of the big Tonle Sap Lake in central Cambodia. This is a developing project. We purchased this land several years ago for the purpose of building a boarding academy. We have a big delay because we realize we have to send our future teachers away to get trained in a school that is going to allow them to honor the Sabbath. And so in the meantime, things have shifted in Cambodia, and we're not sure if we're going to build something here or in a different location, or here and a different location. So this is kind of like we're in a mode of like, Lord, what do you want us to do with this property? And we really want God's leading and guidance, because if it's His will, then it's going to happen, it's going to be successful.
In the village that we live out here, there's a school, but the school at this time have 6 classrooms. They had 4 teachers and they cut back to 2 teachers. We have approximately 100 children between the ages of 1 to 12. That's a huge need. There's a lot of children that needs education. And so some of the parents have reached out to me asking me, when are you going to start the school? We want to send our children to your school. And as we were talking to the parents, found out that some of them were former Adventists. And so they're actually excited about giving their children an opportunity to not just go to a school, but to have a Christian education. And I think that that's just a wonderful opportunity that we could provide for these children in our village here. And God provided the land. We have about 30 acres. We have the land, we have the children, but we lack the building. And so that's where you come in, where you can join partnership with us in helping to meet the needs of these children. And it's not just a regular education that they'll be getting, but to share the gospel with them so that they can go out and evangelize Cambodia.
What we're thinking is that we'll build an elementary school here for the local villagers, and then maybe a small boarding academy following the blueprint that Ellen White laid out in True Education. So our first stop was there in Battambang. After that, we went up to Tim's place in Siem Reap and had a conversation that totally changed everything.
Okay, let's watch that video now.
Okay.
I have many parents bringing students to us and saying, my kid's in grade 5 and he can't read yet.
Wow.
And I've heard that here in your school, your kids learn to read fast. I want to put my kid here.
So how long has your school been here again?
We started in 1999. And we
And-
started it as a literacy school for the poorest of the poor. At the time, I didn't see it growing to a K-12 school, but it very quickly God began to show us that it wasn't to remain a literacy school. It was to prepare educated workers to serve the Lord in Cambodia.
How many high schools do we have in Cambodia?
There are 3 Adventist high schools in Cambodia.
Okay. And elementary schools, we've got a few, but are there enough?
There are elementary schools dotted around the country. Are there enough? My answer is no, because I believe that every Seventh-day Adventist kid should have a Seventh-day Adventist education.
Okay.
And we should give them the best education that we are able to, because they are the future leaders for the church. If we are serious about sharing the gospel with everybody in Cambodia, we need educated people.
Off the top of your head, how many schools you think we need to do? Elementary schools and then high schools?
So we currently have about 4,000 members in the country.
Okay.
So I would think then we have at least 2,000 kids who are either already members or potentially members when they grow up. And so we need enough schools to be able to cater for all of those kids. I think it needs to happen strategically all over the country. I think we need, if I say big schools like mine, like here, but we need feeder schools.
Yeah.
So we operate the school here with the 230 students K-12, but we also have a feeder school at one of our churches about 20 miles away. And there we have primary school. We just have 3 teachers, and currently we're teaching 4 grades.
If all things were possible, how many feeder schools, how many elementary schools would you like to see started like tomorrow?
If all things were possible, the biggest challenge would be teachers, Adventist teachers. But if there was money and there was teachers, we probably need at least 40
40
feeder
new
schools.
Let's say you put 40 feeder schools out there. How many academies, boarding academies?
I would think you would need at least 10 academies around the country. And the more schools you have, the faster the church is going to grow, the more schools you need.
Yeah.
So
Tell me, what's the correlation between church growth and schools?
if somebody comes to church and then their kids come to the school, they are more likely to stay in the church because their kids are going to the school. You see the transformation in their children. I was told about one family who, after coming to the church, they confessed, we came to your church because we wanted our kids to come to school, but now we believe.
Wow.
So yesterday we were in a village and we asked the headman if they would like a school. And they said, if you teach English, everybody will come. So what about starting out as literacy centers and then expand into a school and then develop it as it goes? So instead of focusing on building one big school, focus on enabling people to start 40 small schools and then a couple of larger medium-sized schools maybe.
If we want to reach Cambodia with the gospel, I say we should go for it. God has big plans. He's just waiting for us to have the faith to believe that his plans can actually happen.
Absolutely, or will happen.
I don't think we're going to be 10 million years from now thinking back, it's like, man, I wish I hadn't spent that extra time or made that extra effort. I think we'll probably be thinking, we should have worked harder while we had the chance.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you think of that?
I think God has big plans for Cambodia.
Yes.
And I think we better hang on to his short tails.
Yes. Exactly. But we were calculating after this trip that maybe 10% of our Adventist young people in Cambodia have access to an Adventist education. 10%.
That's not enough.
That's not enough. So building more schools is not like an option. It's not like, oh, that sounds like a good thing to do. It's like it's a desperate necessity for the church, for the health of the church, both short-term and long-term.
Yeah. All right. So then you went from there. You went to
Pray Vahir.
Pray Vahir.
Can you say that 3 times really fast?
Pray Vahir. Pray Vahir.
Oh,
pray
you're
Vahir.
you're a linguist. But yeah, Pray Vahir is about 3.5-hour drive, and we got there to a church and visited with the pastor of the church. We communicate through a translation app on my phone.
Okay. Sounds tricky.
It's a little slow. And during this conversation, light bulbs started happening.
Okay. Let's watch that video now.
Okay. Do you have any need for a school?
Yes.
Yes? How many children do you think would come to the school if there was a school?
វាអត់ឲ្យទៀតប៉ុន្តែសាលាបានត្រឹមតែទី1ទៅដល់ទី6ទេយើងសាកល្បងសិន
Okay, we will have a school with about 60 to 70 students, but the school only has grades 1 through 6, so let's try it first.
អរេអី no translate ខុស
Maybe we should call David and
Yeah.
have him translate.
ឮតើប៉ុន្តែយើងពិបាកពិភាក្សាគ្នាដោយសារតែភាសាផ្សេង
Hello, hello, Pastor.
Hello.
How are you?
Yes, good evening. So he said if we have the school in the church compound, there's no problem.
And then I started thinking, what if we do what we do in India, which is an evening school? And so I presented the idea. We have an evening school, 2 hours of education, a free meal, and it's a chance to reach the kids and also breaks down barriers between the church and the community. He loved it. He started smiling and laughing. He says, yeah, and we could start right away.
មានន័យថាល្អហើយ
He said it's not very different from India.
Really?
If we have something like that, it would be a great blessing for the church and the children.
Wow. So evenings,
I would agree.
sorry?
Yeah, I would agree to that, and not just this, almost everywhere in Cambodia.
Really? It's easier to do an evening school than a day school. A lot easier.
Yes.
And if there's a need, then we can increase it, expand it to a day school. But start out an evening school.
ខ្ញុំអត់ហ៊ានឆ្លាញ់
This is the night of the start of a brand new ministry in Cambodia. And who knows how many thousands are going to be blessed. Really excited to see ministry just kind of blossom as we interact. And this was kind of a faith journey where we go out and we see what's out there, like pioneering, like where you place the sole of your foot, that have I given unto you, Joshua 1:3, where you go out and you just look, what is God going to open up? And there's so much work to be done, but the thing is that it's doable. What's cool about an evening school is you don't have to build a building.
Yeah, that's true.
The elementary school, you're talking about at least 6 to 8 rooms, and you're talking $250,000, which needs to be done. This is a big project, but with an evening school, you can start right away.
Right.
The only thing the evening school doesn't accomplish is giving them Sabbaths off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we still need to focus on going that direction. But if we start with an evening school, then it will enable them to learn better and to be connected with the church on the other days of the week.
Yeah. And the challenge in Cambodia that I didn't realize is the poverty level. It's so low. The income is so low. I know a few years ago, the statistic was that the average Adventist Cambodian gives $35 a year in tithe.
In tithe.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, we've got to keep moving because
Okay.
you guys went a lot of places. So where did you go next after
Next,
this?
we went to Stong Treng, and we interviewed a pastor there, and we believe that that area is prime for a boarding academy.
Okay.
Because it services a lot of provinces around in which there's a lot of Adventist kids, but no Adventist education.
All right, let's watch that video now.
Okay. Stong Treng is where the president had recommended that we look for putting a boarding academy We talked with the pastor there and come to find out that that town, that city is known as like the educational city for several provinces, and a lot of kids come there to go to school.
How big is this city?
It's not that so big, but there's a lot of people come for higher education.
Higher education. So they have universities here?
I don't think they call it university. They just call it as training center. For example, like teacher training center, nursing school, and also police training school as well.
What would you say is the Adventist population here in the entire province?
I think it's less than 100 family, and each family at least they have 4.
At least 4.
Yeah, at least 4.
If you go outside of this province, do you have a lot of young people that...
We have young people that come here to study, especially high school.
Do they have problems with the Sabbath?
I think they do have problem with the Sabbath because all high school they still have Sabbath issue. Yeah, they run 6 days a week.
We asked them, well, what about around outside, because you know land is cheaper and it's better to have a boarding academy away from the city in countryside setting. He says it's really cheap out there, maybe $5,000 for a hectare, which is 2.2 acres. So $5,000 for 2.2 acres. In your travels, if you see maybe a nice place for a high school boarding academy that has maybe some water and some mountains and a nice building place that's away from the main road.
Oh,
you know.
I see. I think that even cheaper because mainly our Cambodian mindset is the price high because the road.
Yes.
If they are far away from the main road, and then the price tend to go down.
Yes. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, so much need.
Yeah, so much opportunity.
Yeah. So we have one more video. I think that's your overview or your wrap up from this trip.
Yeah.
And so let's watch that now.
Okay. Our vision was to establish a boarding academy and maybe an elementary school. And over this last week, he's expanded our vision, actually exploded our vision, to a desire to establish 40 elementary schools throughout Cambodia, because there's 130 churches here in Cambodia and only at this point maybe 10 elementary schools. And so there's a huge percentage of our Adventist kids that have no access to an Adventist education system. Now we kind of take an Adventist education for granted in America, but here where they have a Buddhist background, it's very difficult to know how to live a Christian life, and that's where schools come in. They have daily training on Bible and Christian living and how to follow Jesus. We've seen what education can do in Siem Reap because of Tim Maddox's school, 1st through 12th grade there, and the church is literally filled with children. So I asked him, if you take away all the restrictions, how many elementary schools are needed in Cambodia to serve the 130 plus churches and companies here in the country? And he says, 40. And so all of a sudden we started to think different. We were thinking maybe establish 1, but 40, that's a whole different ball game. And so now we started to think, is this possible? Well, I think if we have the right system and the right approach and the right organization, I think it's possible, because with God all things are possible. So we're looking at our vision going from 1 boarding academy to 40 elementary schools. And then I asked him, well, how many high schools do we need? And he says maybe 10, because after they graduate from the 6th grade, they need a place to go and continue through that special time of growing up where they're starting to learn to make decisions on their own and started making decisions on their own and stuff. And so we're thinking about boarding academies so that people can come from different provinces and come to those boarding academies from all the 40 different elementary schools that are going to be established by faith here in Cambodia. Our original property in Battambang that we've owned for several years, we've been planning on making it a boarding academy. We're now looking at that as being a training center, elementary school, boarding academy, and training center for teachers to go to the other 40 or more elementary schools that God is calling us to establish to serve our Seventh-day Adventist children, because we believe that every Seventh-day Adventist child should have access to Seventh-day Adventist education, and that this is the best way to build the church over the next 10 years, is to educate our kids, to grow up strong, Bible-believing children, to raise their children to be strong men and women of faith. It's a God-sized vision. We are not able to do this on our own, but God can do anything. And now He is establishing 40 new elementary schools throughout Cambodia. Not only is He establishing 40 day schools, He's also establishing evening schools. In addition to that, He's establishing a major boarding academy up in the north, in the Stong Trung area. And so this is going to be a revolution. It's going to build the church up so much. And by His grace, this is moving forward. This is a done deal, because we are absolutely sure that this is His vision, not our vision. This is our chance to make a difference, to step into what God is doing here in Cambodia for the sake of His kingdom before time is completely up.
God has big plans.
He does, yes.
We have to keep focusing on that. He has big plans. He wants the gospel to go to everywhere,
Yes,
to every person.
yes.
So I was reading in Psalms this morning, Psalms 33, 12 through 15, and it says that God looks on the hearts of all the people. He looks at all the nations, and He looks on the hearts of all the people. He made all their hearts alike. And that just really touched me, because He wants His plan for every person in this world and for every child in Cambodia.
Yeah. I praise God that He has a plan for every single person
Yes.
in this world, and He doesn't overlook anybody as unessential
Right.
to His plan.
Yes, and I would like to invite you, if you'd like to learn more about how to support the children in Cambodia and specifically education, please contact us at Jesus for Asia, P.O. Box 1221, Collegedale, Tennessee, 37315. Call us at 423-413-7321 or visit our website at jesusforasia.org. May God richly bless you until we see you next time on Jesus for Asia Now.